Good morning, everyone. There's joy in the heavens, a smile on the mountains, and melody sings everywhere. The flowers are all laughing to welcome the morning. Your soul is as free as the air. The flowers are all laughing to welcome the morning. Your soul is as free as the air. Leave home in the sunshine, dance through a meadow, or sit by a stream and just be. The lilt of the water will gather your worries and carry them down to the sea. The lilt of the water will gather your worries and carry them down to the sea. Then hunger for freedom, but don't see their dungeon is only the thought that they're bound. Desires are their shackles, a hope that tomorrow the doorway to joy will be found. Desires are their shackles, a hope that tomorrow the doorway to joy will be found. There's joy all around us, why wait till tomorrow? We've only this moment to live. A heaven within us is ours for the finding, a freedom no riches can give. A heaven within us is ours for the finding, a freedom no riches can give. There's joy in the heavens, a smile on the mountains, and melody sings everywhere. The flowers are all laughing to welcome the morning. Your soul is as free as the air. The flowers are all laughing to welcome the morning. Your soul is as free as the air. The flowers are all laughing to welcome the morning. Your soul is as free as the air. So we'll sing this beautiful chant together. Guru chant. Think ye in thy heart lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus in purity, beyond all duality, Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus impurity, shaming the white lotus impurity, beyond all duality, Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus impurity, shaming the white lotus impurity, beyond all duality. Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus impurity, shaming the white lotus impurity, beyond all duality. Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru. If you want to cross the ocean of delusion, if you want to cross the ocean of delusion, shaming the white lotus impurity, shaming the white lotus impurity, beyond all duality. Guru image of Brahma, deliver us from delusion. 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 Think ye in thy heart, lotus feet of thy Guru.
Meditation. Come into a comfortable seated position, spine upright, body relaxed. Let's just take that beautiful devotional chant into the heart center. And let's visualize Guru Yogananda at the point between the eyebrows. Feel his holy vibration, his presence within you. So tuning your consciousness to his great holy consciousness. Mentally asking Yogananda to deliver us from delusion, the delusion of the heart and the mind, the emotions, attachments and desires, delivering us from all that stands in our way of channeling that radiance And as the body inhales mentally, repeat Hong. And when the body exhales, Saw. We'll meditate for 5 minutes.
Remaining in this inward state, listen to affirmations for self-healing. This week's affirmation is forgiveness. Forgiveness is the sword of victory. When we forgive those who seek to hurt us, we rob them from their very power to do us harm. Better still, if they respond with love, they will unite their strength to ours, and so our strength becomes doubled. But forgiveness should not be given primarily for its effect on others, but rather for the freedom it affirms in our own hearts. Let no outward circumstance condition your inner happiness. Be not pleased merely when man is pleased. Be pleased rather when you feel God's pleasure in your heart. Repeat in a loud voice, commanding the attention of the conscious mind. All that befalls me is for my good.
All that befalls me is for my good.
I welcome any hurts that I receive
I welcome any hurts that I receive
as opportunities to grow in understanding.
as opportunities to grow in understanding.
Now in a more conversational tone. All that befalls me is for my good.
All that befalls me is for my good.
I welcome any hurts that I receive
I welcome any hurts that I receive
as opportunities to grow in understanding.
as opportunities to grow in understanding.
Now in a whisper, taking it into the subconscious. All that befalls me is for my good. I welcome any hurts that I receive as opportunities to grow in understanding. Now in silence, taking it even deeper into the subconscious. All that befalls me is for my good. I welcome any hurts that I receive as opportunities to grow in understanding. Now with rising aspiration, bringing all your attention to the point between the eyebrows, repeating in deep silence, all that befalls me is for my good. I welcome any hurts that I receive as opportunities to grow in understanding. Prayer. Lord, how often the hurts that I've sustained in life have grieved me. Strengthen my power of love, that I surrender all things to thee, my eternal friend.
Now we'll have our reading.
So this is a reading from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. Week 10, Dogmatism versus Common Sense. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 7, Jesus warns, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree can bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them." Jesus here, as indeed many times during his teachings, counsels people to use their God-given common sense and not to rely on high-flown but undemonstrable claims. Common sense goes beyond abstract reason, for it is rooted in actual experience. Even common sense, however, is deficient when the judgment called for goes beyond sensory experience. Ultimately, what he emphasized always, therefore, was intuitive perception. Thus, he expected more of his disciples than crude common sense, and often scolded them for being too literal-minded, as he did elsewhere when they thought his statement, "I have meat to eat that you know not of," meant that he had steaks or sandwiches secreted about his person. His reference, of course, was to spiritual, not material substance. Words, even though appearing in the scriptures, are no substitute for direct perception of truth. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita says in the 2nd chapter, "The sage who knows God has as little need for the scriptures as one might have for a pond when the whole land is covered in flood. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Oh, oh, oh.
Welcome again. And as I mentioned earlier today, we're celebrating Master's Mahasamadhi today. And the poem I'll read from Whispers from Eternity is really a beautiful testament to what Mahasamadhi means when the guru leaves his physical body on our behalf. God's boatman. I want to ply my boat many times across the gulf after death, and return to earth's shores from my home in space. I want to load my boat with all those waiting, thirsty ones who have been left behind, that I may carry them to the opalescent pool of iridescent joy. There where my Father distributes his all desire quenching liquid peace. Oh, I will come back again and again, crossing a million crags of suffering, with bleeding feet I will come, if need be 1,000,000,000,000 times, as long as I know that one stray brother is left behind. I want thee, O God, that I may give thee to all. I want salvation, that I may give it to all. Free me then, O Lord, from the bondage of this body, that I may show others how they too can free themselves. I want thine everlasting happiness, but I want also to share it with others, that all my brothers may find the way to happiness forever and ever in thee. So beautiful. And that's the promise that Yogananda made to each of us when we become disciples. And even if we're not formally disciples of Yogananda, he made the promise that simply by attuning yourself to his consciousness and praying for guidance, he'll lead you to the vehicle that will bring you to spiritual liberation, if that's a different guru. So Mahasamadhi means the conscious exit from the physical body, which the great masters have the ability to do. And Yogananda predicted his leaving of the body for quite some time, although his disciples around him didn't understand, because it's hard to want to face that in reality. And he always said that he wanted to die with his shoes on, speaking of his motherland, India, which is exactly what happened. He was the honorary speaker at a banquet held at the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles in 1952 on March 7th to honor the Indian ambassador of the United States. And Yogananda spoke and then stood up and read the poem, My India. And at the very end of the poem, he expired. And we're really blessed by Master's Mahasamadhi, because while he was in the body, he was omniscient. But when he left the physical body, his vibration and his love for us was more expansive, because there's no limit in time and space. Even the great masters like Jesus and any of our gurus are slightly limited by the physical body, even though they do have omnipresence while on earth. And Yogananda told his disciples that when he left the body, he would be closer to them even than when they were with him. He told his disciples, my body shall pass, but my work shall go on, and my spirit shall live on. Even when I am taken away, I shall work with you all for the deliverance of the world with the message of God. Those who come to me seeking inward spiritual help shall receive what they seek from God. Whether they come while I am in the body or afterward, the power of God through the link of our gurus shall flow into the devotees just the same, and shall be their salvation, the cause of their salvation. The ever-living Babaji has promised to guard and guide the progress of all sincere devotees, Lahiri Mahashaya and Sri Yukteswarji, who have left their physical forms and I myself, even after I have left the body, all will ever protect and direct sincere devotees. So we're considered the second generation of Yogananda's devotees because he was here until 1952, and Swami Kriyananda was a direct disciple of his, and we're disciples of that lineage. And that's a really powerful thing to think about, to contemplate, because when we think about when Jesus was on the earth, it wasn't until, I believe, 150 years after his crucifixion that the Gospels were actually put into writing and started to spread across the world. So we chose to incarnate at this time as disciples of Yogananda, and we have a gift to give others. Just through our attunement to Master, we share that light in the world. Today's reading is Dogmatism versus Common Sense, and we are truly living in a cycle of extreme dogmatism. We can see it everywhere. We see it in the news, in politics, religion, education, even in medicine and science. There seems to be conflict everywhere, and each side really believes that they're right, and they want everyone else to believe that they're right too. And that's really what dogmatism is. It's when someone outside of yourself tries to prescribe to you the way that things should be in the world. And of course, we have to use common sense to, take that information in, and through our heart and our wisdom, our divine guidance, to know what's true and what isn't for us individually. So more than ever, during this time of great transformation in human consciousness, we really need to use divine guidance to navigate ourselves in the world. We're in a process of great spiritual development and transformation. We're in Dwapara Yuga, which is the age of energy. And this current dogmatism in the world is really a result of ascending Dwapara tension. So we're 323 years into Dwapara out of a 2,400 year cycle. So there's 2,000 more years of this energy, and we're really in the baby stage. And whenever there's great change in the world, the old way of doing things, the old consciousness wants to hang on for dear life. And that's where all the conflict comes in the world. And even in the natural world, we perceive these things as just happening to us. But in reality, there's no separation between us and the physical world, because all we are is energy vibrating at different levels. And so our anger, our fear, our violence, our war, that energy causes the earth to shake. Yogananda talked about this many times, that energy causes the wind to howl around the world. It causes floods. Yogananda once said that Noah's flood, the flood of Noah's Ark, was a true historical event, and it was because of the anger at that time in the world. So when human beings send out, fear and anger vibrations, the whole natural world feels that. So for us, as devotees of a great avatar, it's imperative that we continue to heal ourselves of any of those feelings within ourselves, any feelings of anger or fear or conflict or jealousy or emotion or whatever it is that we might be struggling with. As soon as we can name it in ourselves, it's our duty, like we did today, to purify that, to ask God, ask Master to purify our hearts and purify our minds so that we can be pure channels of love and peace and harmony at this time. Because again, as devotees of Yogananda, we chose to come here at this very time in history, this very difficult time. We chose to be light, children of light, in Master's name. In today's reading, beware of false prophets. So we can recognize a true prophet by their fruit. We know that, and we know the fruits of Yogananda's teachings and of Jesus and all of this lineages of great masters. And Yogananda is the real deal. There's no doubt about it. He's a Prem avatar of love. He came here to preach unconditional love, not just for others, but for ourselves, to teach us to love ourselves and forgive ourselves and be kind to ourselves so that we can share that with other people. And he really came to help us transform our consciousness. And we, in turn, can be channels to help others as well transform their consciousness. And anyone who grows fruit, I know some people have fruit trees in their yard, the best fruit, the most perfect fruit, and the sweetest fruit is at the very top of the tree, where there's nothing obscuring it from the sun. And the fruit that's at the bottom of the tree, sort of hidden in the branches behind the leaves, it doesn't develop and it doesn't become sweet, and sometimes it's inedible. And it's the same thing with us. The more that we stay in attunement with the son of our guru, the more that we develop into these beautiful rays of this light, rays of what Yogananda came to teach. And our uplifted consciousness ourselves, by staying in attunement, we're helping to uplift the continental, the world order, in a sense, the consciousness of all of creatures, all of humanity, all of living, the life of this world, this great planet. And Yogananda said that in each yuga, even though we're in this Dwapara yuga, that there's people with higher consciousness, and we can be those people. You know, we can actually strive to even have a higher consciousness than what's available right now at this time in history. And Yogananda's promise was to be ever present in our hearts and minds as long as we send him the invitation to guide us. And it's really that simple. He's 100% here for us. All of our great masters are. We just need to invite them in. It's that simple. You know, when you invite someone over, it makes them happy. It's the same thing when we invite God into our lives, that there's never, ever any hesitancy. The guru comes right in and helps guide our lives in the most beautiful way. So, you know, just as the fruit that receives the most sun becomes the most perfected, when we invite Guru's guidance into our lives, it helps us to become perfected as well. Master wrote a beautiful poem. It's in a book called Song of the Souls, which is really like a sister book to Whispers from Eternity. It's called When I Am Only a Dream. And I just wanted to read a little piece of that. As soon as you know my beloved and hear his voice in silence, you will know me again more tangibly than you knew me on this earth plane. I will whisper to you through your conscious. I will smile in your mind when you are right. I will whisper to you through my love. Unknown, I will walk by your side and guide you with invisible arms. It's really, really fantastic to think that whenever we need that guidance, we can just visualize Yogananda's arms around us, or a circle of light around us. And when we're facing any decisions in life, if you ask for guidance, sometimes you can ask before you go to sleep at night, and then you wake up in the morning and you just kind of know what the right choice is. Or again, Master said he'll smile in our heart when we're right. And we know that feeling. There's just a certain opening that happens in the heart when we're right. So I'm going to end just talking about, so you know, my mother passed away. I've talked about it a few times. And there's been days where when we love someone, what we want to do for them is bring them food or flowers or just gifts. That's what we do when we love people. We do it here every Sunday. People come and Kelly makes amazing soup, and David and Shannon bring food. And today Roy made deviled eggs, which is a real act of love. For anyone who's made deviled eggs knows it's a lot of work. So that's what we do to show love and honor to the guru. And so with my mother, she loved these fig squares, and a couple of times a year I'd make them from scratch, you know, with the dough. And this week I was thinking, oh, I just wish I could do that for her. So Yogananda did that for his disciples on March 5th, 2 nights before he passed away. And of course, we know Jesus did it for his disciples at the Last Supper. There's an Indian tradition or an Eastern tradition. When a great master knows that they'll be leaving their physical body, they have a banquet for their disciples as a way to honor them, even if they don't say it. So Yogananda didn't say what he was doing, but he invited his closest disciples for a very special dinner in his little sitting room. And he guided the chefs to make all his favorite Indian dishes. And the people who attended said that it had a very ceremonious feeling to it, even though those things were usually quite casual. It felt different on this night. And so he did this as a way to just kind of show them their love, because when he died 2 days later, they were devastated. They were really devastated. They felt lost. They were in shock, even though in hindsight, when they reflected on the past year, Yogananda kept leaving them little hints that he would be leaving the body soon. But it's really hard to hear that. So today, we are doing the same thing after church. After this service, we're going to honor Yogananda. by having a meditation, and we'll bring flowers to the altar. We'll do a flower ceremony. We'll share food together. And all of these things are really important because as human beings, we experience the world through the senses. So that's why when we love someone, we want to cook for them, or we want to make them a gift or bring them flowers, because that's how we experience the world. But in today's reading, we're told that we have to go beyond our sensory perceptions in order to really experience God through intuitive perception. So all these things are really important that we do, and they're beautiful expressions of love. But the way that we truly honor God, and we really honor God, is in the silence of our own heart, in our meditation. And that's why Yogananda talked about meditation as being the foundation of everything we do. So when we make that appointment, we keep that appointment every day with God, that's the most loving thing we can do. Here I am, even if it's not a good meditation, even if it's a short meditation, it's an affirmation of our love to do that each day. And so that's how we really get to know God, is to turn the searchlights of the senses off, to close the eyes, close the mind, close the ears, and to sit in silence and to really listen for God's love and vibration. Yogananda said that people used to ask him how Saint Lin, who was Rajasi Janakananda, he was one of his most exalted disciples in his lifetime. He said, people would say, how did Saint Lin make such rapid progress? Because he was a business world. He was living in the material world. But once he met Yogananda, he really flourished. And he said that he replied, he knows how to listen, that was his great gift. He knew how to go deep into the silence of meditation and listen to God, listen to the vibration of Om. And then he was able to take that out into the world. So to end today, this is just one little sweet thought that I read about Master's last days. On March 6th, the day before Master's Mahasamadhi, a disciple was visiting Mount Washington, and he accompanied Yogananda to a breakfast that was also in honor of the Indian ambassador who was honored the next day. And the disciple said this, they were in the car driving together. He said, he was bubbling over with divine love. The vibration of peace and bliss coming from him were overwhelming. He took my hand in his and said, if you all work together with love, harmony, kindness, and humility, the work will sweep the world. And he was talking about the work of self-realization, of Kriya Yoga that we're here to study and to practice. And again, as second generation disciples of Yogananda, that's what we're here to do. So if we work together with love and compassion, and we help each other with kindness and harmony in everything we do, we create a magnetism in this church. And yesterday we had a class, the Principles of Self-Realization. We had 20 people come to that class, and I think 12 of them were new to Ananda. They had come, a couple had come to Pascalina's meditation course, and the rest were new. They found us online. And that's what we're creating here, all of us together, with our love, our devotion, all the beautiful ceremonial and ritual things we do. They're creating a vibration. And then when we go into the silence of our heart in meditation, and we call God in, we call the gurus in, we're really expanding that vibration. So let's think about that today on the Mahasamadhi, that we can really honor Master by just being beautiful channels of his love, his guidance, his light in the world.
So now we'll have our offertory. Please take what you would like to give, place it in your right hand, and repeat after me. Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
we offer to thee the fruit of our labors.
we offer to thee the fruit of our labor.
Bless this offering.
Bless this offering,
That it serves as a channel of thy light
that it serves as a channel of thy light
to truth-seeking souls everywhere.
to truth-seeking souls everywhere.
Om.
Om.
Amen.
Amen.
truth that all was made from love. A love that calls to us to fly above the hills, above the sky, above the storms, above the pain, a land where peace and laughter reign. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy wisdom guide our ways. Guide all our hopes and all our dreams, past every glow that only sees, into the light, the inner sun, into the truth that we're all one. Help us to find in every hour, in every thought, in every flower, a joy that spans eternity, the truth that makes us ever free. Oh, Master, may thy joy fill our days. Oh, Master, may thy